Can't you see? Everyone! They're here already! You're next!
Let's go!
Welcome to the future, where the glass is half full and you'll need new glasses, where you'll be jumping from conclusions.
The past is annulled, and a new future is born!
Never before in history has so much meant so little to so many. AD on the radio.
So some sports stuff happened over the weekend. You may or may not have noticed. Look, before we get into all of this, I want to make something very clear. Equality and the fight for equality is not only the right thing to do, it's the patriotic thing to do. There's a reasonably important American historical document that states that all of us are created equal. And that's a big part of who we are, the belief that we are all created equal. And if you don't believe in equality, that is intrinsically un-American. And of course, what happened that everybody saw? Did it kick off on Friday or Saturday? I can't remember, but Trump went after football players on Twitter, saying, quote, "Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, say, 'Get that son of a bitch off the field right now. He's fired. He's fired.'" Now, look, if you're like me, you would imagine that most Americans don't want their flag or their country or their anthem or whatever symbol of America they hold dear. They don't want that to be insulted by a millionaire athlete that is perhaps not all that in touch with what life is like for the vast majority of the rest of us. And that's kind of reasonable. But, there's the line. There's the reasonable line. And there's our President Donald J. skipping over it, nimbly leaping across it as if it wasn't even there. So he went one step further. I mean, look, it's not cool to call people sons of bitches. That's unpresidential. But he did. And he also called for kneeling players to be fired or suspended. And he said that if the league didn't comply, fans should boycott the NFL. Hey, this is freedom. This is the free market economy. They're a business. I mean, they didn't pay taxes until 2015, but now they're a tax-paying organization that makes their own rules, it being America. So for anybody to call for them to change how they do things and then encourage folks to boycott them if they don't, well, it's not really anyone's business but the NFL's, whether you agree with it or not. That is the free market that we idealize and live in. Also, let's be clear. Donald Trump, the man who said something to the effect of, "Who knew healthcare would be so complicated?" Donald Trump is #not a doctor, which made it interesting that he played an interesting combination of Monday morning quarterback and armchair physician when he weighed in on the head injuries in the NFL, saying that the NFL was, quote, "ruining the game by trying to stop dangerous physical hits." Yeah, you're not a doctor. I don't think you did your research before tweeting. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say oftentimes Donald Trump doesn't do research before tweeting, and this is one of those times. If him saying looking out for the safety of the players was ruining the game sounds like the deranged rambling of a drunk sports bar idiot covered in wing sauce, beer, and ignorance to you, well, that's something that you and I have in common. And look, there are several glaring, obvious ironies here. The NFL has fined players for personal expression when it comes to issues of breast cancer and domestic violence. Do you remember this? Running back D'Angelo Williams received a uniform violation for like $6,000, I think, for wearing Find the Cure eye black in honor of breast cancer awareness. Eye black that he's worn for years. Do you remember they fined cornerback William Gay the same amount, about $6,000, for wearing purple cleats to show support for domestic violence awareness? Gay's mother was shot and killed by his stepfather when he was 7. He's publicly supported that cause for years. He's been in public service announcements. So getting all uppity about players' rights to personal expression, this is kind of a new deal for the NFL. When it came to players taking a stand against breast cancer and domestic violence awareness, or not taking a stand against domestic violence awareness, but taking a stand for domestic violence awareness, they got fined. So, like I said, being all uppity, this is a new territory that the NFL's trodden in. The NFL, who turn a blind eye to issues of domestic abuse and the health of their players, facing off in a battle for the moral high ground with President grab 'em by the lady bits. Well, in this particular clash of self-righteousness, there's a lot of rocks being thrown in glass houses, while the pots in those glass houses insist that the kettle is a tad darker than kettle should be, a subject about which the pot would know very little indeed. So it's interesting times.
Real radio.
104.1.
Where the left and right come together for fundamental truths. AD on the radio, on Twitter at ADSXE.
So the NFL, who, as you and I have discussed, have turned a blind eye to issues of domestic abuse and the health of their players, and have fined players for supporting breast cancer awareness and supporting domestic abuse awareness, got all uppity about free speech this past weekend just gone by after being called sons of bitches and told to change their policy or face presidentially inspired boycotts. Players from nearly every NFL team demonstrated on the field over Trump's feud with them. And what was interesting was that, did you see how some players didn't feel comfortable taking the knee, but they all decided to lock arms in support of those that were taking a knee? Meaning, I'm not going to take a knee while the national anthem plays. That's not for me, but I'm showing support for your cause. Donald Trump interprets this as a win. He said, great solidarity for our national anthem and for our country. Standing with locked arms is good. Kneeling is not acceptable. Bad ratings. It's just the way he humanizes the whole situation by recognizing what it's all really about. Bad ratings. Money flying out the window. The thing is, somehow, this guy that'll find a win anywhere he can get it, I guess, but he interpreted these locked arms as a win for him. I don't know. And then, because this is how the president spends his time over the weekend on Twitter, he talked about the fact that the Pittsburgh Penguins were coming to the White House. He said, pleased to inform. Oh, actually, no, he didn't say pleased to inform. He said, pleased to inform. He said, pleased to inform that the champion Pittsburgh Penguins of the NHL will be joining me at the White House for the ceremony. Great team. In the middle of Trump's war against the NFL, he also went after the NBA. He said he was withdrawing his invitation to the White House that had been extended to Steph Curry of the champion Golden State Warriors. The Warriors, in case you hadn't been following it, had been divided about whether or not to accept Trump's invite, and Curry said in advance that he planned to vote against going to the White House. But the Penguins, who won the Stanley Cup, have said they're going to stick with their White House visit. They said, quote, any agreement or disagreement with the president's politics, policies, or agenda can be expressed in other ways. However, we very much respect the rights of other individuals and groups to express themselves as they see fit. So it's interesting, right? I mean, what does all this really mean? The taking the knee, the standing locked arm in arm, all the different variations that have come up on this. If you're like me, you wondered what you might do in a similar situation. People are taking a knee for something that's important to them. But do you take a knee and anger other folks, specifically members of our military, to whom we want to extend every possible courtesy because they've put themselves in situations where they were willing to lay their lives on the line for our freedom, including our freedom to take a knee? So I talked to a veteran buddy about this, and he said, well, Look, it doesn't feel great to see people taking a knee. Not because he had a problem with it, but because some of his friends were very, very upset by it. Some of his veteran friends, some of his friends in the military were very upset by it. But he's a black man. A black man who'd served his country. A black man who'd served his country, who, as he told me, recently had been pulled over for doing absolutely nothing. He felt like taking the opportunity to express the fact that racism exists is a good thing. But he'd just do it differently. He told me that despite being a veteran, same as his father before him, he still feels that he has to drive sitting up straight with his hat turned forward to avoid being pulled over. I was like, really? That's a thing? He's like, oh, like clockwork, man. If I'm wearing no hat or if my hat is turned forward, chances are I'm not going to get pulled over. If I wear my hat backwards and if I lean back in my seat, I can guarantee you there's certain neighborhoods where I'm just going to get pulled over. This is a friend, a veteran, a member of our military, a more upstanding individual you could never hope to meet. This is my friend who once said to me about racism, it's not as bad as black people make it out to be. Racism is not as bad as black people think it is. But it's worse than white people understand. It still exists. I support the right to free speech and the right to protest. But I would find a different way to express myself out of respect for my fellow veterans who, rightly or wrongly, take this stuff personally. So there you go. He's all in favor of it, but he's got veteran friends that are very upset by this, so he would find a different way of doing it. And I guess that's exactly where I'm at, too. I know there's members of our military who are upset by this. And for that reason, I'd find a different way to express myself. But it becomes a weird and daunting question, doesn't it? How do you express yourself? Like, how do you say the things that are important and get your point across in a meaningful way that isn't just poking the bear and making people angry, but making people understand your perspective and making people understand what's important? How do you express yourself in this situation with all the symbolism being thrown around? We'll get to that next.
For more stimulation and less irritation, 9 out of 10 doctors choose KPRC AM 950, Houston's more stimulating talk radio.
Don't get the blues, get all the news. We mean all of you guys out there in Radioland. All aboard!
He's back. AD on the radio.
Give it up, yeah. Give it up, yeah. Bring this on, come on, come on.
So, if you were put in this situation, would you take a knee? Funkhouser, say you're an NFL player.
Okay.
All your buddies are taking a knee. What do you do?
If I were an NFL player, I would take a knee because I'm a symbol.
Interesting. All right, would you take a knee?
That's the loudest speaker I have if I'm a football player.
Would you take a knee with your hand over your heart?
Oh, now we're gonna nitpick? I don't know.
Well, no, there's a reason I'm nitpicking, because there's a lot of symbolism that's been thrown around. Look, stay with me on this one. This is where I'm at. I know members of our military who I hold in very high regard are really, really upset about this. I know that there's plenty of members of our military that said this is exactly the sort of freedom that we fought for. Go ahead, take a knee, do what you got to do. But the people that feel as though they're risking their life for our freedom, that this is a personal insult, I want to draw people closer, not push them away if I've got something to say. And like I said, the reason I ask you about the hand on the heart thing is it gets confusing. There's all these different ways to express yourself. How do you express yourself? There's so much symbolism that we've experienced recently. It all becomes more and more meaningless the more of it there is. Trump got it confused right away. Trump somehow equated the linked arms to support of him when it was meant as a show of solidarity for those taking a knee, whilst respecting the anthem, saying like, hey, I'm going to link arms in support of the people that are taking a knee. I'm not going to take a knee myself, but this is me standing up for equality in my own way while they're taking a knee for equality. People get it confused. People are going to attach whatever meaning they want to attach to it. So it becomes a personal choice about what feels right to you. Funkhouser said it would feel right to him to take a knee if he was a football player because that's the loudest way he has of expressing himself, and equality is important. It started with Kaepernick taking a knee. Other football players did something similar. Now it's finally hit baseball. Did you see that guy on the Oakland A's? He kneeled the other day, and this is why I asked Funkhouser the question about putting his hand on his heart. This guy from the Oakland A's, a rookie player, he took a knee, but he did it with a personal twist. He took his hat off and he put a hand over his heart, meaning I think that our nation has problems, but I still respect my country. And then one guy, the guy next to him, put his hand on his shoulder while standing. What does that mean? A show of support, I guess. And then there was the football player thing that happened this past Sunday just gone by. The football players linking arms while others took knees, meaning they were with you, but were going to stand, which Trump said was okay. But then a bunch of fans booed. You see how it gets confusing? The Colts fans booed the people that locked arms. Trump said that was okay. And then there was that woman who took a knee singing the national anthem at the end of it. She started standing, and then she took a knee toward the end of it. She had her own interpretation. She had her own interpretation for this. Some people thought that was the right way to do it, showing respect for our anthem by belting it out, but also being involved in the distinctly American pursuit of freedom and protest. So I'll go one better. Okay. What if you stand for half of the anthem with your hat off, kneel for the other half of the anthem with your hat on, and then with your hand on your heart, lead the crowd in a rousing chorus of Yankee freaking Doodle Dandy while flying a Canadian flag upside down, tweeting the hashtag Coney 2012 while Instagramming a rainbow-colored stars and bars, insisting a Confederate statue be replaced by an organic free trade non-GMO coffee dispensing machine, which you built with your AR-15 on your back because it's an open carry state, and that's the right a correction to our Constitution gives you. You see, I'm a big believer in protest, and these symbols mean something, and it is free speech. This is not easy. It gets confused. It gets messy. And the messier it gets, I think, the less meaning these things have. But freedom is far better than the alternative. All the symbolism, like I said, kind of becomes a moot point because, it's not about your social media post or a decision to take a knee on one day of a year or any of that. It's about what is in your heart day after day, year after year, the other 364 days of the year. Racism is wrong. It's an easy thing to understand. Racism is wrong. Racism exists. Fight it wherever you see it. How? Well, when you're not worried about what to hashtag or whether or not you're taking a knee, fight it by being a shining example of equality and what is right. It's a really, really easy thing to do. People protesting, great. People protesting for a day, 2 days, every single day of the football season, it's great. Fine. Freedom of expression. But the rest of the time you're around going through your life, your brief spin on planet Earth, it's easy. Treat everyone you meet with the same respect, and this problem goes away. And then maybe the millions of Americans who would rather cheer for their teams as an escape from the divided states of America can get back to just cheering for their teams. All right, Funkhouser, what's going on in the world?
Or their players, because I guess fantasy football is in full effect right now.
Right. Have you ever played fantasy football?
Uh-huh.
Really?
I lost. I was 20th out of 20.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you have to pay to get into your league?
Well, I was working for a radio station, and the grand prize is like the number one person. I would have to feed them their Super Bowl pizza, like in a tie at a restaurant, like be their personal chef or like at least server. Yeah, I was dead last. And the number one guy sure did rub it in.
Funkhouser.
Patriots.
Candy. The New England Cheaters. You see the Boston Red Sox got fined as well. They got caught stealing signals with an Apple Watch somehow. I don't know how they did it, but it's yeah. They got caught stealing signals.
Who caught that? I oughta.
Well, I think
the nerd in the third row figured something out.
I don't know, but they got caught. I mean, who knows how long they've been doing it before? But like the between the Apple Watches and the the underinflated balls, it's become pretty clear that people in the New England area cheat.
But did we know? We didn't need to know we knew that already. We didn't need those two things to happen, I think.
What
they're just natural cheaters.
Cheat?
Yeah.
Don't you have an ex-girlfriend from New England or something like that? Is this?
Oh, no, I'll make a list for you. Send it over to you later.
I've got lots of friends and family in the New England area, and I've always found them to be truthful, play-by-the-rules types to the nth degree.
Huh.
I don't know. It's weird, though. It's weird how people associate. Look, I mean, I love the New York Mets. Love the New York Mets. Love the New York Mets. My favorite baseball player probably is from Chicago. No longer a New York Met, plays with Los Angeles Dodgers. But, somehow I will always associate Curtis Granderson with the New York Mets. Noah Syndergaard, their pitcher, he is from Dallas. It's the least New York thing ever. Is Tom Brady from New England? Is he from Boston? I don't think so.
He's probably from New England.
Okay.
Well, you ready for news?
Well, all right, yeah. Let's do some news.
All right. The movie It, will become
Have you seen?
No, not
yet.
But I made a date with somebody, and I'm definitely not going through with it. So.
Oh, who's the date with, and why are you not going?
It doesn't matter. She's just 80 miles away. So
that's a long way to travel.
Too far.
Yeah.
I'll tell her that.
What about It?
It will become the highest grossing horror movie ever when it crosses the 233 million mark.
I think it might have done that this weekend. We got to check. But yeah. By the way, when It sold its first ticket 2 weeks ago, it became the highest grossing clown movie ever. Go on.
Have you ever seen Killer Clowns from Outer Space?
No.
It's a cult classic. Yeah, the clowns come from outer space and they cover you in candy, cotton candy, and they wrap you up like a cocoon, and I forget what happens after that. It's a great movie. Watch it for Halloween.
I'm still, in my instant queue, I still have Surf Nazis Must Die.
Oh, boy.
Have you seen that one?
No, I have not.
There's probably people all over the place going, you haven't seen it?
I think I can guess the premise, though. There are surf Nazis, and then there are people that are trying to kill them.
Yeah, they must die. There you go.
What?
Hold on. Before we get into the rest of the news, did you know that Starbucks is evolving this fall? Evolving? Yes.
Huh. Well, it's got to be about pumpkin spice, but continue.
No. No, there's an entirely new type of latte.
Uh-oh.
Strap your Ugg boots and your leggings on and head over to Starbucks. I'll let you know what you can expect later on in the show. See, that was a tease.
I gotta wait in line for it, huh?
Yeah, apparently.
Can I get that joke in venti, please? The creator of Fuller House says he's out of ways to ask the Olsen twins to be on the show.
Yeah. Everybody thought they were coming back for Fuller House. It's a tremendous disappointment to a lot of people, and the creator says he's given up. He's out of ways to ask the Olsens to be on the show. Don't give up so quickly. Have they tried leaving a trail of cigarettes and Xanax to the set? I think they might be onto something.
Be a long trail.
I should be the showrunner on that one. There's only so long that we can remain interested in Jodie Sweetens. We were all fascinated by that for the first season, but I got to episode 3 of the second season. I was like, yeah.
Fuller House.
I didn't realize there was a third season.
No, my phone dinged this past Friday saying Fuller House season 3 is available. And you know what I did? I changed my notifications.
Remember how excited we were for Fuller House to come back?
Oh,
It was
yeah.
great. I loved the first season of
So
it.
did
Loved the
I.
whole thing, and it wasn't just like I said, Jodie Sweetens. There was the
was a good
the
little
allure
thing.
of perhaps getting the Olsen twins back on, and like I just want to see what the Olsen twins are like. Like, has anybody heard them speak? You know, they're not. They're the exact
Well, she's
opposite
got a
of
sister
everything that's
that
going
is
on.
like, I think, younger than them, that looks just like them, that's out there talking and stuff. So you can
I
get a
don't know,
little
like-
piece of her.
I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I think the Olsen twins have gone the exact opposite direction of what it is to be a celebrity in this day and age. Like, I don't think you're going to find them on Snapchat or Instagram or Twitter or any of these things. They're not constantly out there sort of like taking pictures of their butts and firing them off into the universe. And they're not big on selfies and all of the above. They're kind of like reasonably unobnoxious and low key with their bazillions of dollars, and that's what they made billions off of like their movie franchises afterwards. So it's like, we really don't need to do that. I mean, sure, you'd make a lot of people very, very happy if you did, but you don't need to do it. So
If you
F
were,
us,
would
right?
you? If you were on the show when you were little and now you're you, would you? If you didn't have to?
I don't know. I mean, because they were little, like they didn't have to, like maybe they're just really because they acted. They must be able to act
Into their
at least as well as the rest of the people on Fuller House. I mean, like I was gonna say maybe they're embarrassed because they don't feel like they have the acting chops anymore, and they can't just walk out there and go, "You got it, dude," and like have everybody go, "Aw," the way they used to be back in the day. But I don't think anyone, especially after seeing the first season of Fuller House, I don't think quality control is a really big concern. It's just fun to see it on. It's not like, are we creating great art? Are we living up to our fans' expectations? No, we're just kind of cranking it out because it's something people enjoy and they want to see it. And if I knew that I could bring joy to people by reprising something like that, then yeah, I probably would do it if I was them. Just because, you have a chance to bring some people some happy.
But
And I
what
know
about
they've got
my
literally-
shawls and my designer
literally-
shoes?
Like, I don't know, is appearing on Fuller House a conflict with their professional pursuits now? Are they retired or are they selling shawls and shoes?
I think they're
and stuff like
designing
that?
stuff, and they're too good for television. Hollywood
I mean,
has
if they're all high fashion now, then I could see appearing on Fuller House perhaps eating into their handbag sales. So then that might cause me to not do it. But ultimately, if it made people happy, I think, if it didn't take too much of a chunk out of my life, then if I was the Olsen twins, wow, that's a phrase I never thought I would utter. If I was the Olsen twins, I probably
You never
would.
know when you would be, when you might. Could happen at any
Oh, no.
moment.
Fairly clear that's never happening. I'm never going to be an Olsen twin.
Sometimes you just know you're done. You're longing for that shining sun. You walk these streets most every day. You're waiting to get washed away.
Now, more AD on the radio.
So, Funkhouser, it was a big deal for you when Jerry Lewis passed away, right?
Oh, yeah, sad day. Yeah,
And he had kind of a long-standing feud with his kids, as much as he was an advocate for children.
Oh, I didn't know
Jerry
that.
Lewis. Oh,
It
yeah.
doesn't surprise
And,
me, but
even in death, Jerry Lewis stuck it to his kids. He took his long-standing feud with his 6 sons to the grave with him. We'll discuss how a little later on, also along with talking about the way Starbucks is evolving and how there's a new latte you're going to be lining up for in your Ugg boots and your jeggings.
Jerry Lewis and Starbucks news all in one show? Oh,
Hey,
man. It must be fall.
It must be. Have you ever seen those things, jeggings? They look like jeans.
Oh, yes. Let me think
Do you
about
own a pair?
it for a
You seem-
second. No.
You seem like
wait,
the
hold
type
on.
of guy that might own a pair. Because like the idea is they feel like pajamas look like jeans.
No.
It's sort of like an acceptable way of being able to slob around in public.
I had a girlfriend that bought one like really cheap on eBay, and they were falling apart, and that was very nice. It's like ripped fake jeans are better looking than you would think. But no, I don't have one. No, I have corduroy versions, but
you have hold on. You have corduroy pant leggings
that are super tight. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Have you worn these out yet?
Not everyone has this. Everyone's got super tight pants. At least one pair. Mine happened to be corduroy, cream colored corduroy.
I don't think I own any super tight pants. I own some more fitted pants. You know what was a huge bummer for me? Remember when we were kids and like the whole sort of like hip hop skater thing was you wore your clothes as baggy as possible?
Oh yeah,
like
parachute pants.
Well, it's just like baggy was so comfortable. I was really bummed out when baggy stopped being cool because it was, goodness gracious, it was like lounging around in your bathrobe all day long. It was the best.
They had a blanket everywhere you went.
Yeah, and I remember when skinny jeans came out, and I was like, yeah, I won't be doing that. That is not a thing that I will be doing. I always noticed that the skinny jeans, and it's funny because like we were around at that transition because skinny jeans were a thing for those metalhead guys. Do you remember that? That was like that. If you look at old pictures of like Megadeth, like they wear enormous white high top sneakers, skin tight jeans, and a bullet belt or whatever the hell it was they were using. So like when skinny jeans started being worn by hipsters, I was like, really? Like those guys from the big hair video, that's a thing for you? And I remember thinking the same thing about people that wore skinny jeans now as I did back then. Like I remember seeing metalheads wearing skinny jeans, and like some of them weren't in the best shape, but that was the style. You had to wear the skinny jeans, so they were wearing said skinny jeans. But like on top of the skinny jeans, they'd be kind of like, a little rotund. And I remember, I'll never forget walking into a concert once and seeing some guy wearing exactly this. He was kind of hefty on top, but wearing super tight jeans. And only days earlier, I had opted out of biology class where we had to dissect the frog. I was like, I don't want to do that. And we were given the opportunity to get out of it. But I remember looking at the frog with this bulbous body and these little spindly legs hanging down. And I was like, that's exactly what this guy looks like. It is skinny jeans. And that's the same thing I started
what's
seeing
up
all
there,
over
you
again
praying
at
mantis?
It's like, it's this bulbous thing with spindly little legs hanging down. And it's very, I don't know. It's an interesting one. I miss the baggy jeans. I miss the baggy pants. Those were
they'll be back.
Those were fun days.
They're coming back.
You know what? I'm an adult now, so I don't know if I could get away with the comfort that it allows.
Can you imagine in the retirement home, everyone's rocking the baggy pants, going, "I was there when Vanilla Ice was a rapper. Remember that?"
Glow sticks and pacifiers. I never wore those baggy pants. I never wore those like Jinko things where you could like smuggle people into concerts underneath them because they were that big. Like I wore the baggy pants, but they didn't like come out huge at the bottom. Remember those guys?
Oh, mine were huge at the bottom. Mine were reflective.
Yeah.
Like silver
Funkhouser.
reflective. Mm-hmm.
Oh no!
You remember that guy from the Apex Theory music video where he's jumping around? Yeah, I had that exact outfit.
Apex Theory. That's an obscure reference. No. I don't remember the video, but I remember the band because I think they came out a little after System of a Down, and they were kind of like similar to System of a Down in that they were an Armenian metal band out of Los Angeles that did kind of complicated music. Like I know the band that you're talking about. They had one song, I don't remember what it was, but I kind of dug it. But silver reflected pants. Good for you, Funkhouser.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody sent me a bunch of pictures of me from like my teenage years.
Time to share those
recently. I did. One of them's on Instagram, and I remember one of our radio buddies, Kane, who's on in New York City. He saw the picture. He was like, "I gotta give you credit. Everything you're wearing is still in style." He was like, "Except for maybe the hoop earring." But like I got all these pictures and I was just like, you know what? Not bad. I'm not ashamed of any of these items of clothing. In fact, I wish I still had some of them.
Before the magazine modeling that you don't like to talk about? Does this happen before or after?
It's not cool. Also, I was never in a magazine.
Oh.
It was I did some runway work, my dear.
Oh,
God. Quick, more news.
The trailer for Wes Anderson's new movie is out.
I haven't seen the trailer, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say it contains a bit of quirkiness and a hint of whimsy. I love Wes Anderson movies, like I
nice
really
words.
do. Well, I mean, have you like, are you a Wes Anderson
I can't
fan?
remember a movie. Can you give me an example of a Wes Anderson flick?
Oh man, well the last one he did,
Horror movies,
like Bill
right?
Murray's in all of them, like The Life Aquatic and stuff like that.
Oh.
Like you've probably
I thought
seen
he
him and
only
maybe
did
didn't-
horror movies. That's all.
No, you're thinking of Wes Craven, the guy that
yep.
created Shocker. That's an entirely different thing. Wes Anderson, he made like the Grand Budapest Hotel, the Royal
yeah.
Tenenbaums,
Those are good.
The Life Aquatic. What was it? Like he did the Rushmore. That was the really good one. Like Rushmore was
Yeah, it's a cult classic now.
Yeah. So like he does these cutesy little entertaining things, and like, but man, the last one, the Grand Budapest Hotel, is good all by itself as a movie, but it is one of the most interesting looking movies you've ever seen. Like to me, bottom line is artsy fartsy stuff. If I'm bored during it, it's not good, or it's not good for me. But like Wes Anderson movies, I think succeed in that sort of like artistically heightened sense, and they still manage to entertain someone like me that has horrible ADD and can't usually sit through the entirety of a thing in a theater. So I'm excited for that.
Leave the stimulation to the professionals.
Everyone is so smart.
KPRC, more stimulating talk radio.
There's something happening here, and you should know what it is. The Dumbing Up of America. Now, more AD on the radio.
So even in death, Jerry Lewis managed to find a way to stick it to his kids. He was estranged from all of them, and he made that clear after he passed away. We'll get into that later. Plus, Starbucks has evolved, and we'll talk about exactly which latte you're going to be lining up for in the not-too-distant future. Right now, though, what up?
They
What
did
else is
say
going on
that
in
they
the
were
world?
going to start to sell alcohol in those Starbucks. Remember
Really?
that? They had they tested that.
They're talking about selling alcohol in a lot of different places. Like I think there's supposed to be Taco Bells now that sell beer and margaritas and stuff.
Oh, there's one on the Vegas Strip.
Oh yeah,
That's the first one that has a liquor license. Yeah.
because there's Taco Cabana, which I think is something that you find mostly in the South, like which is like it's kind of like Taco Bell, except some of the food is really good. Like some of it's not necessarily all that because it's it's fast food. It is what it is.
Hey, come on. They're a sponsor here. One
Taco Cabana?
I thought you meant Taco Bell. Yeah.
No, Taco Cabana. Taco Cabana is like, it's similar to Taco Bell. It's fast food, but they do have like really good rotisserie chickens. Like strangely enough, delicious rotisserie chicken. And when you're not feeling well, they've got like, in the winter, it's just the best. They've got this tortilla soup that just rocks. You would never expect soup from fast food places to be like what you wanted, but it's really good. But they also sell like beer and margaritas and whatnot. And they make their tortillas fresh in front of you.
Oh, that's always fun.
Yeah. So, what else is going on in the world?
On
besides,
Wednesday, food.
Mm-hmm.
On Wednesday, Leonardo DiCaprio had 2 separate dates with 2 different supermodels.
So, even Leo can have a slow day. We should all feel better about ourselves. That's, wow.
What about brunch?
What about, how do you manage a dating life like that? Like, how do you set up expectations?
Well, I think
and an
anytime you go
understanding
out with anyone, everyone will call it a date when you're single and him. And you're.
When it's Leonardo DiCaprio and 2 supermodels, that's a date. Mm-hmm. That's what that is.
I would call it that too. If I was him.
Well, I'm stuck on this. There's some other places that are going to start selling booze. The Taco Bell's going to start selling booze. Target is supposed to start selling booze, like booze and coffee, like because that's what you need
At
during
Target.
Christmas season.
All right.
You need to be sloshed at Target.
They'll buy more.
Yeah. And there's another restaurant that, or another store that's going to start like having a liquor license. I don't know. It's an interesting one. Would you want to knock a few back while you shop at Target, Funkhouser?
Going in, yeah. On my way in, sure. I would, but no one starts their. I don't think anyone starts their Target experience going to the food thing. They go hit that on the way out, I think. But I don't know. What do
you buy when you go to Target? What do you buy?
When I go to Target, usually it's like, I have the red card, which brings 5% off of everything. So I usually am like getting toilet paper and, toiletries, necessities. So I go there for SD cards for my equipment, pens and papers, office, literally everything in my whole world. And the pizzas. The
I was trying to figure this out. I was trying to figure this out the other day, where I was like, what do I get at Target? I can't think of anything I get at Target. Like anything where I'm like, I'm out of blank, I need to go to Target and get some. But I can tell you, I cannot leave a Target without having dropped $150. Like, it's just a magical trick that they managed to play on you. And to this day, I would never think I need blank, so I'm going to Target. Yet, man, that's sneaky.
Oh man, from the small town I'm from, the Target trip was like, you look forward to it. You're like, we get to go to Target today. Oh boy. We'll be back in 2 weeks.
There's this new thing. See, when it comes to stuff from Target, I just wouldn't. I would order it online. I would go to Target.com and wait for it to show up at my door, and then I'd price match with Amazon or whoever the hell else was selling it online and try and buy it.
But you have to enjoy shopping.
Oh, come on. Does anybody enjoy shopping? Like, do you really want to get in your car, spend money on costly gasoline, deal with traffic, then deal with people who are, let's be real here, the worst, buy your stuff, have to carry it through the parking lot, drive back home, and go through all that to get something? Or do you want to, from the comfort of your living room couch in your underwear, covered in Cheeto crumbs, order something on your phone and have it show up 2 hours later? That's the thing that you want, and that's why places are going out of business and offering booze for the shopping experience, I think.
Yep. Because it's an experience.
Did you know, like Walmart is trying all sorts of ways to stay relevant because their market share, like Amazon got way out in front of them in terms of delivery and whatnot and convenience and all of the above. So Walmart's trying to find all these ways to evolve and remain relevant, even though they're kind of operating off of a humongous dinosaur of a business model. Have you heard that Walmart wants to go into your house when you're not there and stock your fridge?
Oh, wow. That's new. No, I have not.
Yeah, I guess Walmart thinks we all trust them way more than we actually do because they've got this new plan for grocery. Yeah, they've got this new plan for grocery delivery that takes things way further than any other grocery delivery services out there. They want to go into your home when you're not home and stock your fridge for you. It would work like this. You get a special smart lock on your door, so only the trustworthy folks from Walmart could get into it. Then you order groceries on Walmart.com and tell them when you want them delivered. They're going to bring the groceries to your house and then use a one-time code on your smart lock to get in. They stock your fridge, then they leave and send you a message saying that they're gone, and they locked the door behind them at that they dipped the junk in every single one of the glasses in your cupboard. So happy drinking stuff. No, they won't say that, but that's what they actually will have done. They're planning to test it out in Silicon Valley to see if it works there first.
Okay, where everyone's lazy. Yeah. Sure, fine.
But even they know it sounds a little strange. A spokesperson from Walmart said, quote, "This might not be for everyone, certainly not right away." Would you allow Walmart access to your home so they can put delicious food in your fridge?
If I was a busy Silicon Valley executive and didn't have time to go, sure, yeah. Because I have a 12-bedroom house, and I could just lock all of the other quadrants. Yeah, but as a normal guy, hell no.
If you're a Silicon Valley executive with a 12-bedroom house, you know what you have? Staff to do that sort of stuff for you. You don't you're already paying somebody to do that sort of thing. So you get someone on your staff to collect the groceries and put them in your fridge.
Yeah, so now that person gets fired now, replaced by a Walmart employee. My staff is now replaced by an app.
I don't see this catching on. I don't like having anyone in my house, especially if you're a dog owner. No, hell no. I'm not letting some weirdo in my house with my dog.
Yeah, I don't even like family in my house sometimes.
Yeah, I don't like people. especially not in my home. Like, I love mankind. I love my fellow human beings.
Well, 'cause no-
people I'm not a fan of.
None of all of the training in the world couldn't get Walmart employees accustomed to dealing with like people at their house. You know, there's no amount of training you can go through to, have that a pleasant experience. I think.
I guess that's why they're saying that's why they want to do it while you're out. Like, it's anonymous, basically. Yeah, no, that's why the smart lock. Otherwise, they just show up at your house. Like, the whole idea is like they're basically becoming like the groceries fairy, as if by magic. My fridge is stocked with food. I like it. I just don't like it from Walmart. I don't know. The idea of people coming over, that's a tough one.
I like the ding dong and leave it at your, your front steps. Ding dong.
Sure.
And then run away.
Have you tried grocery delivery yet? Through like Amazon Now or who?
No, early on, I went with Vaughn's because they had a home delivery system, and everything was like $2 more and stuff. But some guys came over and they had that look in their eye, like, you didn't have to order online. You could have gone to the grocery store yourself.
They judged you. They're like, you're lazy.
Yeah,
pot
look at you.
Never do
here
anything.
You are.
Guy.
Here's your Cheetos, Mountain Dew. Have a nice day. I said, I did that one time. That's enough.
Do you use Postmates?
I've used it a couple of times before, and it's always 25 minutes after it was warm, and the interaction is always awkward for me. Here,
the interaction...
one of those things.
The interaction can sometimes be awkward. I agree with you there. But then you just get used to it. And it's just like... I've always had a good experience. My food has always arrived. But you know what? I've always ordered things like salads and what... No! Okay, this is the height of excess. Our friends at Taco Bell, like I said, there's something about Taco Bell that they... You
got to get to it because we got like 3 minutes here.
Oh, man. How are we going to fit Ed Begley Jr., Taco Bell, and... We'll save Starbucks for tomorrow, but like there is something addictive about Taco Bell. You know how we talked about that thing, the Bliss Point, where they put just enough sugar and salt in something to make it addictive. And like I had Taco Bell a little while back, and I was like, nah, I'm not into it. I don't. But then the next day, I wanted freaking Taco Bell to the point where I wanted Taco Bell so badly. I had food in front of me. I was like, nope, I'm Postmatesing Taco Bell, and I did, and it arrived, and it was delicious and disappointing, and ate a hole in my soul. But still, I ate it, and it was as Taco Bell should be. All right, so the thing that we're all going to be lining up for at Starbucks now is the new maple pecan latte. Starbucks, more or less responsible for turning pumpkin spice into the monster it is today. So now that everybody else is doing it, they're evolving. Starbucks introducing its brand new maple pecan latte. It's a mix of, quote, espresso and steamed milk combined with notes of maple syrup and pecan and finished with a colorful autumn topping. It's only going to be available for a limited time, but if the MPL gets anywhere near the popularity of the PSL, we're going to be like 4 years away from maple pecan everything at this time of year. Like, who would have thought of pumpkin spice anything 5 years ago, Funkhouser? Answer, nobody. Like, you had pumpkin pie twice a year, Christmas and Thanksgiving, and then you never thought about it for the rest of the year. But now it's pumpkin spice tampons for all.
Ooh. That would be spicy, I think.
Yeah. So how much time do we have time to talk about Jerry Lewis?
Like 2 minutes, yeah.
All right. So for all the good that Jerry Lewis did, and Funkhouser more or less worshipped this guy,
there
right?
There we go. Not anymore.
Well, no. I mean, look, he did a lot. He did a lot of good. You can't take that away from him. There were a lot of people close to him said he wasn't always the easiest guy to get along with. And I don't think that blows any of your expectations, right, Funkhouser?
Oh, no. He was always the not easiest guy to get along with.
Yeah. And for his 6 children, count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, children, that's a bit of an understatement. He was estranged from pretty much all of them. And when Jerry's son Joseph died of a drug overdose in 2009, his other son, Gary, blamed Jerry for being a bad parent. He called him a mean and evil person who is never loving and caring toward him or his brothers. Even in death, Jerry is not willing to let bygones be bygones, I guess. The folks over at theblast.com got a hold of his will, and you know what he left him, Funkhouser?
$4.
Nope.
What?
Lower.
$0.
Yeah, nothing. Squat. Zip, zing, nada. Diddly and or squat. Even Joseph's family got the shaft. Jerry left his estate to his widow, Sandy, and the will says the next in line is their 25-year-old daughter, Danielle, who was adopted back in 1992. The boys were all a product of Jerry's first marriage. Sandy was his second wife, so there you go. Even in death, Jerry Lewis finds a way to stick it to his kids. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Now let's go to the tote board.
Well, it's just incredible that this guy can be such a champion of humanity in so many ways and then have so many difficulties dealing with those that, in theory, could have been the closest to him. Anyways, just another illustration of how life's rich tapestry is not always obviously woven. Have a good one.